What's going on, everybody? It's ShamefulPenguin here, back with another video. Today we're going to be getting into my Lightning Strike Raider build that I made for Scourge League. Later in the league, I made it when gear was pretty cheap in general, so the budget's going to vary on this build. You can build this setup for about 7 to 8x if you want to copy my gear, like pretty much exactly all the important pieces. But honestly, you can do it for way cheaper. We're going to go over all the mandatory stuff for this build. It's a really fun build. I've been enjoying it. It's been keeping me into the league, honestly, because I kind of did all the builds I wanted to, and this one just came up as a flavor pick that I've been enjoying as the league has gone into like the later parts. And yeah, now I'm going to retire this one since the events are all coming up. So I just wanted to share with you guys the builds I've been doing and just have a little bit of content for you guys. So hopefully enjoy the build. Lightning Strike Raider is a really fun skill. It's kind of like a lightning arrow in a way if you've never played it, except for the projectiles don't exactly travel through everything. They get stopped by pretty much anything on the ground, which is really unfortunate for a lot of map layouts. So open layouts are your favorite. Inside layouts can work pretty well too, but any map layouts that have like height differences that you have to go up or down parts, it's really frustrating sometimes. And even I go frost blades sometimes to just clear maps. And yeah, you can just 1-for-1 swap out frost blades in this build in my layout, and you'll clear really well, but your single target will be a dog. But Lightning Strike Raider just is such a fun build to play. You're so fast, you're zoomy, you're running around the map, clearing everything, and you have a ton of damage with Lightning Strike, so you can do all the bosses. I've done Cyrus with this build, even though my life is really small. So yeah, let's get into the parts of the build. So first things first, we're going to get into our gear. So we have the Feral's Fur. You're going to notice it's about like 3-ish X to get a 6-link one right now, corrupted. So pretty easy to get, and it's a really strong piece of gear that we use for a ton of DPS on our build. So the main thing is that we get cat's aspect of the cat for no reservation, and we get maximum number of power and frenzy charges when we gain cat stealth. This makes it so pretty much we're getting power charge generation for free, whereas we had 0 source of power charge generation. So this is pretty nice, actually. And on top of that, you have to get aspect of the cat anointed, or not anointed, but aspect of the cat mod on your gears from somewhere. It can be on your amulet, your ring, your helmet, and I got it on my shield actually because I had an open suffix. It's a suffix roll if you need aspect of the cat. And the way you get aspect of the cat is you actually will go do it. So you go to the menagerie over here, and once you load in, you'll see if you go to the blood altar, you can type in aspect of, and you see the cat right here. So you're gonna need to buy a feral first of the plains from someone. I'm not sure how much that will cost you at the moment. I believe it costed me like 50C when I did it. Might be more, might be less, but you just socket that, and then you would I put in my shield right here, and it had an open suffix, and then it Exalt slammed it in. It does not chaos reroll. It does not reroll any of your stats. So if you have a godlike piece of gear that you're scared about it rerolling, it will not, because I did that myself. I put it in this shield and it rerolled it. So that's how you get your aspect on something. You can do this to an amulet, a ring, your helmet, your boots, your gloves, whatever you want. So anything you have an open suffix in, you can slam it in, and that will give you aspect of the cat. Then you just put it on. It costs no reservation, thanks to Feral's Fur, and yeah, do a lot of damage. Now we're going to get into our claw, our weapon. We're using claws for our life gained on enemy hit, which is like we have leech and life gain on hit. Life gain on hit is better because the second you hit them, you just your health bar and your mana bar, if you have mana gain on hit, just pops up. It has no time. Leech takes a couple seconds to like recharge your bars, but life gone to hit is really strong, so that's why we're using Imperial Claw. Also has a good amount of his DPS. And the mods you want are cold damage and lightning damage. You also want attack speed, crit chance, and you can craft in elemental resistance pen, but you're going to want cold damage and lightning damage because we are using Trinity support, so we're using 2 elements. So if you notice on my lightning strike, my cold damage is pretty high and my lightning damage is really high. And if you notice, my lightning damage is like higher than my cold damage and also lower. And this is really good because you want every other hit to do your highest DPS to be a different type. And Trinity support works that like whatever element type that you have that you do the highest damage with, it'll give you resonance with 2 of them, and that the other 2. So then you need to do highest DPS with another element to do all 3. And once you get all 3, you get this really cool elemental pen, more damage with elemental per resonance, all that kind of stuff. It's the best support gem in the game if you can utilize it consistently. Lightning Strike Raider can use it consistently all the time, pretty much, if you get cold damage on your things. It's really easy to get cold damage on your stuff, and you naturally get a lot of lightning damage, so that's just really easy for us. So Claw, you just want that. Attack speed and crit chance is really good because if you get crit chance and attack speed on the weapon you're using, and you're using that weapon, it'll scale the base crit and it'll scale the base attack speed, which makes it more scalable. So you're gonna make sure you get those 2 mods on it as well. I would have preferred a higher roll on attack speed, but you know, I could spend more money on this build if I want to later, but events are coming out, so we'll see. The shield, if you notice, I have a weird shield. It's the brittle one, the brittle on enemies when you block, and I've never noticed brittle on my enemies because I have really low block, honestly. So I wouldn't get this base again. I wouldn't pay extra for this base. I actually just found this shield, and I happened to have this base on it for pretty cheap. I think I got it for like 1x or 2x, so I just bought it just because I knew it would fit my build perfectly. You're gonna want life resistance, and you want evasion or armor, or both. Evasion and armor are our main scaling defensive layer, because we are using like determination. We're not using grace. You can fit in grace into this build, but it's a little clunky in my opinion, so I opted not to, and I feel really good on bosses and T16s right now. I only have to use like 3 or 4 portals, and 3 portals in Cyrus, I think, is the last one I used on Awakener 8. So if you want to be more tanky, of course, tweak this build as your pleasure. We'll go over the rings. We're using Mark of the Elder, really strong. Just gives us a lot of attack damage when we have a Shaper item, and then we have our Shaper ring to just proc our Elder, Mark of the Elder. And you're gonna want Assassin's Mark on hit on your ring for sure, and then you're gonna want like life resistance, accuracy, all that kind of stuff, attack speed. But Assassin's Mark on hit gives us a ton of extra DPS. It's really easy to get on Shaper rings if you just harvest craft reroll caster mod on your rings, and you'll eventually get it for free, so you don't have to pay like the 50 to C to an Exalt just to get a really bad ring with one on. You can just reroll harvest and get one for free if you're playing that stuff. Our amulet is really, my amulet's pretty good. There's a lot of things I can change about it. The main thing on our amulet isn't any one of the stats, it's actually the our allocation. So what we anoint is Tribal Fury. Tribal Fury costs you 1 gold, 1 silver, and an opalescent oil, and it gives you strike skills target 1 additional nearby enemy. And I cannot stress enough how important strikes an additional enemy is on this build. The more you have, the better, but I would say you need at least 1 to 2 additional strikes to make this build feel anything good. Without any strike skills on your build, it feels really bad. So take my word for it. You need strike skills. So you get your strike skills from your anointment on your amulet, and you can honestly just go into the mods in Path of Exile trade, type in allocates, and then find it, and then do Tribal Fury, And you can buy an amulet like that if you're on a budget. If you're not on a budget, obviously get a god tier amulet. You're going to want elemental pen, you're going to want life, resistance, lightning damage, cold damage, elemental damage with skills, all that kind of stuff, crit multi, crit chance, all that kind of stuff on your amulet, whatever you can find, and it'll make the build feel a lot better. So Tribal Fury, most important thing about the amulet. Another way to get additional strike skills is actually your gloves, and this is really important because it's actually kind of expensive to get strike skills targeting additional enemy on your gloves. So I got doo-doo gloves, and they basically have no rolls on it. They have attack speed, but it's very minimal. And I crafted resistance on some dog pair gloves. That's how important strike skills are to me, additional strike skills. So my build feels really fun now that I have 2 additional strikes, one from my amulet, one from my gloves. You can actually Maven Slam gloves to get 2 additional on your gloves, and you'll feel really good. But that's big juicy stuff that I'm probably not going to get into this league because we're going to be doing a lot of events later on. Now for your boots, I opted to get projectiles pierce 2 additional targets. You can Maven Slam this to get 5 additional targets and feel really good about yourself. The more pierce, the better, because of how just lightning strike works. And then you're going to want life and resistance. Another really good thing, if you're a big juicer, you get tailwind on your boots. If you get tailwind pierce on your boots, you're god tier, honestly. Tailwind pierce onslaught boots are god tier boots for this build. If you can get those 3 things with movement speed and resistance or life, that's your mirror tier boots you can ask for. And then belt, you can get life, resistance, elemental damage with attacks. That's all you really want. Yeah, so all the pieces of gear you also want to get oh, I didn't go over helmet, I don't think. So you're gonna want to get intelligence. As I'm talking about this, I got a lot of intelligence from my helmet because I really needed intelligence to fit in my wrath aura and other things. So getting intelligence, getting just enough intelligence, I believe you need 150, what's the number, 151. I believe that's going to be like 156 or something like that by the time it's level 20. So you're going to want to have enough intelligence for wrath. Wrath is the hardest thing to fix your intelligence for. So you can get that on your helmet, your rings, your amulet, your shield if you can, some jewels. So you're going to want to make sure you have enough intelligence on your things for sure. Another thing is pierce. So the way we get pierce is our boots. I already talked about that. But if you're opting to use just straight up tailwind boots or something like that, if you have no pierce on your lightning strike, it's going to feel really bad. So what you can do is this little thing that I was considering doing is if you get like tailwind boots, that's pretty good, or tailwind onslaught boots if you already have those going on, you can actually spec 3 points right here to get +3 pierce. So it's going to cost you 3 passive skills, which is kind of a bummer, but that's what you're doing to get better boots. So you're going to get +3 pierce from these 2 nodes, and then this node is just kind of a doo-doo node. So yeah, you can spec these nodes to get +3 pierce and use your really good boots if you want to. You can also use a Thread of Hope over here. I think it's a very large ring Thread of Hope. I forget the exact range, but all I know is if you spec a Thread of Hope over here, you can grab this node, and then you can grab this node over here, and I believe there's like one other node you can grab somehow, but you can do a Thread of Hope things if you know how to use that. If you don't, just spec these 3 nodes, and yeah, you're good, honestly. So now let's talk about the gems. So the gems we're using are Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is a really strong skill by itself. It just does so much base damage. It's the highest DPS strike skill in the game. It is a little annoying in the fact that like the projectiles run into things, but if you can get over that, it is your highest DPS strike skill in my opinion. Just how it works. And then the Vol skill is the best Vol skill in the game. You just slap down this little like orb thingy that shoots out Vol strikes, and you can do 2 of them, and it just clears the game for you. So Lightning Strike is probably the best skill in the game. The best support gem we're using in this build is actually called Trinity Support. Kind of already explained this. So you're going to want to have 2 element types to do a ton of damage. That way you you can proc actually what this does. You have to have that, because you'll notice that you get a little Trinity thing in the top left corner. Apparently you don't get it in hideout. I was hoping I would get it in hideout, but you'll notice that like 2 of the 3 little circles, part of the circles are lit up. If only 2 of them are lit up, you're not proccing Trinity. It's pretty much not working at all. You're gonna need to have all 3 lit up to actually use its effect. So kind of tedious, but that's what we're going with. You're gonna want Awaken Cold support. I'm just a freaking basic boy, not using Awaken Cold. And then you're gonna want Nightblade support. Nightblade support's really strong. It gives additional flat crit chance to our moves, and you can only use it with claws and daggers, so we're using claws so we can take advantage of this. So you get a ton of crit multi and crit chance while elusive, and we're pretty much always elusive because we're critting most of the time, especially with our power charge generation. And on top of that, we have withing support walking around to regenerate our elusive, so we're just always elusive up no matter what. You're going to also want inspiration just to limit down the mana use of your stuff and also scale your elemental damage and crit damage. Pretty much a generic thing you add to almost all builds nowadays. And then elemental damage with attacks as well, of course, because it's just flat more damage. You can't beat this. Awakened elemental damage with attacks is what you're going to want for sure. So yeah, those are your links. And next we're going to go over our auras, which is in my helmet. Oh shoot, I did the thing. So you're going to want to have determination just for some defense, honestly. My armor goes from like 18% to 46%, so I feel a lot better. It's not enough to fix it. I do die a lot still, but I die a lot less, so we'll take that as you will. Herald of Ice, I'm just socketing this in because I can fit it comfortably, and it gives you just like this nice explosion that we're not getting on our build. It's honestly, I would rather use something like Anger or Hatred if I could fit it in comfortably, but I can't. I would need a level 4 Enlighten, I believe, if I wanted to fit it in very comfortably. So right now I'm running a level 3. You don't even need to run Enlighten to run this setup. If you see, you have 65. It'll cast a few, but your mana leech is really good. So as long as you're hitting something, you will not run out of mana. But I'm just using this for extra comfort, because I get a lot more mana and I'm extra comfortable. But a level 4 Enlighten, you could probably swap the Herald of Ice out with a Hatred or an Anger or whatever you wanted to use. But that's what I'm using for now. So we're talking about our totem support. So we're using Ancestral Protector and Ancestral War Chief. We're using these as like supports because when you use them, you get 17% more melee damage while this is active, and then 19% more attack speed. So actually it turns into 20 and 18 when they're level 20. So those are just like our auras that we put down near them. So as long as those totems are near us or they're down, we get that extra juice. So really good. We've turned on multiple totems because without that, we can only have 1 totem up, as you can see. Multiple totems will allow us to have 3 totems up actually. So there's 2 of one and 1 of the other. It doesn't matter what the 2 is because you only get that aura effect once. So that's how it works. And then lastly, we have Culling Strike. So we get culling from our totems. So for fighting a boss, if the totems are still on the boss, they'll actually cull the boss for us. So pretty nice. They just last hit it like a freaking nerd. Then we have Steel Skin, increased duration and cast when damage taken. This is our defensive support. This is our panic. We got hit, hopefully we don't die button. You can use Molten Strike and Vol Molten Strike, but I opted not to use Vol Molten Strike because the other builds that we're using, Molten Strike had way more armor, and I forgot the threshold number that we need our armor to be for Molten Strike, but Steel Skin just feels good enough, so go with Steel Skin or Immortal Call. Next we have Whirling Blade, faster attacks, inspiration. This is how we get around really fast. It's really nice. Yeah, and then on top of that we have a Flame Dash. That's not really linked to, well, it's linked to inspiration, so it has less cost. But we also have a Blood Rage and a Withering Step. So our withering step is actually on our left click. So just pretty much when you walk, you always have that, and it maintains our elusive. So if we're like low percent on elusive, so if we're attacking, we have low percent elusive, and then we proc it again, we get more elusive. So that's just how it works. It's just a free elusive reset. It's more movement speed. It just makes us comfortable. So that's my setup. Blood Rage also generates frenzy charges, but we have like 10 ways to generate frenzy charges, so that doesn't matter. We get good amount of attack speed. We get a huge amount of leech, and it's just a really good button to press. I slowly degen life. As long as I hit like something, I will not die from Blood Rage. Like my leech will just constantly keep it up. But if you want to get like, I have some regen on my amulet. This was an accident. I probably wouldn't have regen on your amulet, but if you wanted to get like regen on your helmet or your gloves or something like that, just to counteract the Blood Rage, you can go for that, but I don't think it's necessary. You have so much leech that it's really that good. Now let's get into our passive tree. So the passive tree is pretty generic for strike skills. We're Raider, obviously, so we start on this node, and the first thing that we rush to spec is actually, I like the melee strike range. Melee strike range feels not entirely necessary as much as I thought. I was worried that I was going to have to somehow travel over here to get +3 melee strike range, and then over here, there's another node that's melee strike range. Oh, this one. I thought I was going to have to like actually spec these nodes to get melee strike range to make it feel good. But honestly, just grab this node over here, +2 to melee strike range, and you honestly feel good enough. Another thing is we get all the claw nodes. I guess I'll go over all the things for mastery. So mana reservation, of course. We need elemental resistance on my build. If your elemental resistance cap, you can take this off. Plus life on this. A really strong was crit chance increased by spell suppression. It's really strong. I'm not spell suppression capped, which is big sad. I'm only at like 80%, 81%. So if I level up like 3 more times, I'm going to unspec this and then spec these nodes, and then I'll be spell suppression capped, and I'll get a little more crit chance, which is nice. This node is really weird. You're like, daggers? What the heck? You're grabbing daggers? Why would you? But elusive also grants 40% to crit multi for skills supported by Nightblade, and we're supported by Nightblade, so we're getting 40 crit multi for these nodes, and it's really good. So we get elusive effect, and we're getting 40% elusive effect and 40% crit multi. So if you POB it, it says this is the best DPS. So I believe POB. Get this if you need accuracy. If you're accuracy, make sure you're 100% accuracy on your stuff. You want to be 100% on elusive or evasive monsters, but I don't think is as necessary. And actually, I found out this node is really good. Dexterity's accuracy bonus instead grant 3 accuracy per dex. This was actually like make or break for my accuracy, like 98 to 89. I think you do lose some evasion. Let's see. Evasion is 8,000, and then it's still 8,000. So I thought the instead would kill my evasion, but it didn't. It actually just accuracy capped me just for free. So I took off precision. I used to have a level 8 precision in just to make up my accuracy, but this gives you more than a level. I think this is equal to what is it, 3 per, so 900. This is more than like a level 20 precision almost. I think it's around there or more. So with our 300 dexterity, this is crazy. So take this node. It gives you so much accuracy. It's not even funny. Then yeah, we're grabbing the claw nodes because like crit multi and be cool. Skills supported by Nightblade have 40% increased effect of elusive. So higher effect of elusive just means more damage, more movement speed, more being cool. And then we're using a lethal pride. So without this lethal pride, we are not doing good on strength. And if we're not doing good on strength, my helmet's not giving me in. So this just fixes my This just fixes my strength, so you get strength on every travel node and every single thing, but also your notables can be insane. This gives me crit multi, melee crit multi, which is unfortunate because my projectiles don't get crit multi. Strength, double damage. If you can get like 2 or 3 of these nodes, double damage nodes on your tree, it's 1000% worth it. You can get leech. I have strength. I had some other good nodes on it. I have double damage over here, but I don't know if it's worth these 3 nodes. Melee crit chance is like okay. The problem is that the melee crit chance, so the way lightning strike works is that you have the hit that happens, that's like right here, and then you have the projectile damage. So it's not going to show here, but if you go on Path of Building, it will show you the difference in like your crit chance for your projectile and crit chance for your hit, and it'll be different. So the crit chance for melee crit strike chance isn't as good as just flat crit chance, so keep that in mind. Next nodes, I grabbed this because I needed the int. Grab these chaos nodes if you need them. I'm probably going to use those next. But yeah, and another thing I forgot is this node's really good. 8% damage per frenzy charge. We get 7 frenzy charges, really good. Attack speed for frenzy charge. So this is just frenzy charge scaling. That's really good. So something to keep in mind when you're building is just like frenzy charges are your friend. Point blank is also really good because we're always pretty much in their face, so 30% more damage most of the time. And that's pretty much it for the passive tree. If I forget anything important, just leave a comment down below and I'll explain it to you guys. But you guys have the Path of Building in your you have that link, so you're good. Now let's get into the Ascendancy. The Ascendancy is pretty generic. So you get phasing, perma phasing, and then you get chance to avoid ailments while phasing. This could be scaled easily with coming over here and grabbing these chance to avoids to cap it out at 100%, or you can get jewels. I don't think I have any jewels that are, no I don't. Or you can get jewels that will give you a chance to avoid element types, so you can be elemental immune. So those are your choices. Also, we're going frenzy charge scaling because we have permanent frenzy charges no matter what we do. We have like 5 ways of generating it. So scaling your frenzy charges is kind of a no-brainer. So this node just gives us +1, and then this node just gives us like movement speed, attack damage, just everything. It just gives us so much frenzy charge stuff. And I have the aspect thing on. I told you guys it got annoying if I turned it on. You hear that little dut. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the passive trees, the nodes, the bandits. You're gonna go kill all. Anything else I forgot? Oh, I forgot the jewels. So I talked about the lethal pride for your jewel. We don't really use many jewels on this build, unfortunately. We have this. So you're gonna want crit multi on your jewels. So lightning skills do crit multi, elemental skills do crit multi, flat crit multi, accuracy if you want it, life of course, and yeah, attack speed. Those are the 4 things you want on your jewels for sure. So your ideal jewel will have percent life. It will have double crit multi, and is attack speed a prefix? Yeah. So and attack speed. So that would be our ideal jewel: attack speed, life, and dual crit multi. If you can get that. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the build. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know this was kind of just like I'm just rambling and talking about it. Hopefully some of you enjoyed this. I'm going to be working on potentially a build I'm going to do for the Endless Delve event, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully I upload it tonight. If I don't get that out by tonight, I'll upload it before the Endless Delve. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.